Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 10 in the city of Brookshore. Now you may ask yourself, why on earth have I opened this episode with this eyesore staring right at us? Well, I can't blame you, I'll be thinking the same, but the sad reality is Brookshore's once pristine waters have now fallen victim to multiple waves of development, and they've created quite an unpleasant pollution in our waters. Just like London in 1858, Brookshore has also developed its own great stink in its waters. Following in the footsteps of Sir Joseph Bazalgette, Brookshore's own engineers have come up with a plan for our sewage system. However, in our city, we are not building sewers, we are building a water treatment facility to deal with our waste. So if we pop into our info tab, you can see where the pollution is getting quite out of hand. We're actually kind of now forming into this actual bay round here in the actual ocean. So yes, something needs to be done, and this project's going to basically future-proof us as we move through our milestones in the series. So let's have a look around our map and see where we can build these said facilities. So we're kind of limited at the moment with our tiles around these areas. Now we want somewhere where it can be flat and it can be manipulated further down the line. Now I think the most sensiblest place is going to be over on this peninsula over here. I believe it's a peninsula. Is it a peninsula? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's part of the map here. We've got a baseline that we can work to. We'll form to this contour just on this level here. And it's a big enough space that gives us a little bit of future proof. And that will head up this way. And also, I want to keep it kind of compact for now. It's not going to be a crazy modern pumping station taking your water up sort of thing. It's going to be very, very simplified because of obviously our time frame. And we will be able to develop onto this. The idea is to anyway as the series progresses along. So let's get clearing the trees out. As usual, I like to work with a clean slate so I can see where I'm building. And I'll be back with you in one moment. So let's start with our earthworks. As I said, we're going to kind of go to this, actually wrong one, sorry. We're going to go to this level here. Let's kind of smooth that all over. That'll do for now. And I'm going to try and keep the actual water facility itself in this section here. So we've got plenty of space to work with. Now all this extra soil that we've just cleared out, smoothed over, we can kind of, I think we can just sort of allow ourselves to perhaps dump that soil where it needs to, and this will fill these holes in. I think that's reasonable. Now of course we must get some decent grades here heading up this bank here, but we're at a certain height, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We need these to be nice and smooth as they head off. Well, I'm probably going to just sort of head off this way and then curve round. Eventually we'll tie it into a station and onto Coleridge and beyond. But for now, let's get this raised and we will then be able to start building our actual episode. Now, of course, I have kind of been a bit aggressive with the terraforming here. Once I get the roads in, we can then cut back to where we actually need it. I just find it'd be a little bit easier in the long term just to be a bit more aggressive with the soil, placement of soil, moving of soil, and then we can always tidy it up at the end. Alright, so we've got a nice artificial pad to work with now, and let's kind of bring these back down to the ground and we can have a look where we're heading. So I think it makes sense in this instance to have a national road over here. If we bear in mind it's going to need some workers, which are obviously over this part of town, so if we can get them over here faster, I believe we might have a few less troubles with our buildings. So let's bring that to the ground, select our freeform tool, and let's head over in that direction, and we should get a beautiful nice slope. Perfect. Can't complain about that at all. Right, and let's try and get the same concept with our lines from our train station, or train line 2. Now I must admit, I think that has got to be one of the nicest landings and grades that I have actually physically done with a railway, so I'm pretty pleased about that. Anyway, that'll do for now. That'll get us going. Let's sort of just pin back the soil a little bit, make it a little bit more natural, and then we can start the meat and potatoes of this building and get cracking. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to just cut straight back. Okay, so I'm pretty pleased with how this has turned out. It's not too bad. These kind of little nasty terrain issues here, we can cover them up as this side as well. But let's get cracking. So we like to see kind of a little bit of canal work. I think will be quite nice. You like you kind of often see these as perhaps, I don't know, they you always seem to have these kind of on a water treatment build. I don't know whether that's perhaps something that they would dump excess water that doesn't need to be, that's cleaned, or if it's you know, storm drains if they're overflowing. So let's get ourselves a little canal which we can detail around. Might need to take just a little bit of soil off this top layer to make it just a little bit easier to work with. So let's just take that back. Now fortunately, since I've put this canal in, it has disrupted the terrain here, but you know, what can you do? It's unfortunate, one of those things, but we'll try our best to cover that. So I'm going to press play because I know we're going to have some issues with water, and I'm going to pinch that back a little bit more, just accentuate this canal a tiny bit more. And of course, if we look over here, we have come to the sort of time where we do need to update our sewage treatment, so it's probably best that I did do this build after the steelworks, so pretty pleased about that. Now I'm thinking I want to have these assets line up. We're going to go for the inland water treatment plants. It's not going to be, as I mentioned at the start, it's not going to be a crazy build in terms of complex, a complex build, and it's going to be a relative quick build today. However, doesn't mean that I can't make it look as nice as possible. So let's go a little bit crazy. I'm thinking about 6 of these inland water inland treatment plants. I think will do us good, and I'm going to turn them off for now so I can keep the game running. Now if we put 6, the reason I'm putting 6 down is as I mentioned, it's going to future proof us, and it means that we can get rid of our poop dispensers over here, and we'll have some clean sewage treatment. But I'm not going to do that just yet. Of course our city will die if I decide to get rid of them now. I don't mind, but I'm going to pinch a little bit more soil, a little bit more land, and take it from the ocean, from the sea. So that should allow us to fit one more in. We'll have one up that end, and then we'll have another one this end. Somewhere it makes sense. This is kind of like an overflow. It won't be functional. Oh, it will be functional once I get it going. But what it will do is any extra water in the system will just dump out. It will dump back into the water. We know it's clean water, so we ain't got to worry too much. But it's not necessary. But I just think it adds a little bit more character. So let's bring that to about there. I think that's as far as we'll go with the canal. Hopefully it doesn't get too angry. Right, so let's look at the next asset. I think we'll have a pumping station. Again, this is where they could perhaps keep excess storage water, or you know, where they obviously fulfill its duty being a pumping station, but perhaps it was kind of put there to, you know, store water for once upon a time. So let's get that placed. I'll tell you what, we'll go a little bit closer, and there we go. Right, it's not left the best of textures, but I've got an idea how we can get around that. Right, take this road out for now. We're going to upgrade to our industry roads, of course. We don't need these dirt roads. Alright, so we're all hooked in. We've got our bases down. I think these are the main buildings that are going to be used for this water treatment facility. As I mentioned, it's not crazy sophisticated. It's just going to be there to do its job for what we need for the moment, because we need it to push on in the milestone. So that's in place. Now there's one other thing I want to introduce into this build, specifically this build. I thought it would be nice to place a few power stations. I don't know about you, but I'll be honest with you, this is one of the worst looking assets in the actual entire game. I think so anyway. It's just, I don't know, it's got no detail. It looks too futuristic, and I think we can do better. But we're going to use it. Now what I intend to do is surround it by our good old factories. And what this kind of give off the impression of is, if you squint really hard, it kind of looks like Battersea Power Station, or you know, the Bankside Power Station, which is now known to house the Tate Modern. You know, this is the best I can kind of come up with in vanilla. I like it. It hides the fact that it's actually a power station, one of the NAF ones. It will do the job. It will get our power over here, and of course we can always use this power source to hook into the main supply over on the other side of Brookshore. So let's just sort of place these down. It incorporates it in, right? You can't see it from this side, so it looks like a power station building. As I mentioned, the brick built like the Battersea power station, you know, and it supplies a power source. So why not combine it? Alright, so a good idea now would be to get us hooked into the main road so we can get these factories up and running. It's only got no water, they've got pipes. Oh, of course, right, okay, for temporary, let's hook into our actual supply. So, come along this road. Now what might be nice, we have a nice sort of winding, twisting road down, following the contours. Let's get into our overview of our actual landscape. And again, I think we can use the industrial road. So let's come out at a 90. I might actually have to pre-grade this slightly first. Hang on, I'll go back on that. So let me just smooth, at least get a 90, a nice safe junction into this busy road, well eventually busy road. Alright, so we've got a fairly decent descent here. Let's get round. Yeah, that's fair. That's fairly a nice grade. I'm happy with that. I do apologise if there's any clicking or banging in the background. It's the radiator's currently on, and it's sort of making a bit of an awful racket. So I'm sorry if it has been picked up on the mic. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. We've got a nice sweeping curve here, right down there into the factory, which is fantastic. So let's get hooked into our main source of water, and we should see these disappear. So let's turn on our power plant. Alright, we're hooked in for now, that'll do. We should see cars start coming over here soon, so let's just upgrade. Let's upgrade this road too. It's a nice national road. Keep the speed limit high. Now we should see flurry activity over here very, very soon. Now, we've got some crime over here, so why not place down? Let's get down a fire station, a little police station. So we've got a bit more space to work with. I think we can probably take up a few of these trees. So I'm going to check out grades as well. We're not too bad. Just slope that up there. I'm just thinking whether it's worth having another power station, but I guess that will do for now. As I say, we are already hooked into our main source, and we could probably even lower the budget down, because we're up to 150, we're maxing out. So let's lower this down. Of course, we need to automatically turn these on, otherwise Brookshore won't cope. So let's get them turned on. We'll start off with 4, I think. Start off with 4, and then it should allow us to remove the old poop dispensers. There we go. So over time we'll see this sewage dissipate from the waters, and it will be a nice, pristine, clean waters again for everyone to enjoy. Now, of course, in the meantime, let's put down some services, and of course, towards the end of the episode, I will as well place down some detailing too. So we'll go down. We'll probably have some more infrastructure out here in the future, but for now, this just allows us to get these assets in. We'll probably go for let's go for the historical ones. I guess I will have to probably take these trees out. Unfortunately, the pollution is going to kill them off. I know we are creating pollution over here, but let's be honest, it will eventually go, but it's better than having this. I mean, this is horrendous. Oh, and as we're actually level 2 on Myrtle Farms, and that does bring me on to the next episode. Next one's going to be a bit different. This is our 10th episode today. I want to do a bit of like an anniversary episode where we go around Brookshore, we revisit what we've done previously, have a look how things have turned out, and we'll make some upgrades where necessary. We can change a few things. We can obviously add on to the infrastructure as well. But it'll be a bit more of a chilled out episode, a bit more relaxed rather than kind of like heavy building or heavy cuts and time lapses. So I'm looking forward to that one. And of course, it will be nice to push on with our time frame. We've got quite a lot upcoming, which is I'm super excited for. We can kind of change perhaps a few of the building styles, come up with new ideas. So we've got a lot in store, so it's going to be an exciting journey. So please do keep the notification bell on, so when you see these episodes drop, you're in the know. But I am looking forward to it, and as I mentioned last time, I'm trying to get a bit more of a better schedule together. But what I find is the most difficult is kind of editing and working. It is quite difficult, but I do appreciate you bearing with me, and I'm hoping every episode that I'm doing it's getting a bit more enjoyable to watch. I'm finding it easier to actually edit and get a structure to things. So yeah. Alright, so I'm placing these down. We've got a little bit of overgrowth. It will hide some of these nasty terrain issues. I don't mind a few poking through, but that's fine. And we can kind of, if we just sort of put an imagination hats on for a moment, we could perhaps pretend that this was perhaps a little bit of seaweed, a bit of moss growing around here, a bit of vegetation. I guess it would probably be a bit more of a swamplands, especially on this peninsula here. So let's cover that. And we'll use some of our are they called reeds, or I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what they're called, but we can use a few of our new ones from a content creator pack. Little detail in it. I'm going to place a few more down, do a bit of a time lapse. I won't talk and bore you for much longer, and then we'll come back and we'll see the final finished article. I'm really almost tempted to put like a water tower up here, but I really don't know if that's if that's going to be the wisest of ideas. But we do need to address that. Perhaps we'll look at that next episode. We do need a little bit of water. Let's have a look at our pollution and see how we're doing in terms of, look at that. Straight away, we're really getting rid of that, which is nice. So give that a few minutes and that will tick over, and of course we'll get our nice clean blue waters back. But I'm pretty sure I'm kind of done with everything. I've put a bit of subtle detail in. As I say, it wasn't the longest build, but it's got the job done, and I think it's come out really nice. So we've combined a nice little factory power station with a water facility with a nice sort of like overflow area, and we're also connected straight in from our main, which will become our main highway. But I've placed this little fence down. Obviously we didn't want any cars driving straight into the river. That wouldn't be the greatest of ideas. And I've placed a nice little fence down here. I like this texture on it. It's almost like it's got a little bit of like fungus on it. It's sort of rotting away, which is cool. That's good. It's all been sort of not kept. It's not kept, is it? It's basically on the seafront, and I'm sure it would be eroded in time. So anyway, I digress. I'm going on. I'll leave the episode here. I'll leave you with some cinematics. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope it's given you some ideas. As I say, it's very, very basic, but it works for the moment, and that's the main thing. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'll leave you with some cinematics. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.